training yards, and I know some of you who are watching have been in these training yards. We've got our big camels in the back here. They're eating some lucerne at the moment, and yeah, we're looking forward to answering. Is trust-based camel training, does it work for every camel? Did you want to start, Russell, with the type of training that we do, just to get things warmed up a bit?
Yeah, okay. We operate with a method that, look, it's been developed over a large number of years. Most of, no, I wouldn't say most, but a good proportion of my knowledge has come from my mentor, Phil G, when I was training with him, but then I've also been with other cameleers throughout Australia, and also learnt from other camel cultures from around the world, different places. Plus also some of my own ideas as well, integrating, you know, sort of the connection that the Aboriginal people, because I've spent many years living with Aboriginal people up in Arnhem Land and over in the Kimberley, and out in the desert as well, in the Gibson Desert. And what they've taught me about connection of, you know, the plants, the animals, how we're all connected, and you know, they just had an amazing way of knowing that sort of connection. So
and that's why we call it, or we changed our name from Australian Camels to Camel Connection, because it is like connection is, it's not just about doing something. Like, you know, connection involves the heart. Connection involves, you know, thinking strategically about how you want to approach something. So that's where the camel connection comes into play, is where we're seeking connection with the camel, and we're asking for that in return. So we're asking for their respect, we're asking for their trust, we're asking for their friendship, and ultimately their love. You know, they are a herd animal, and they definitely prefer to be with their own kind, and they form cliques, and they form little friendships and relationships, and they have you know, so and so over there who's a bully, and don't go near him, you know, and then there's Aunt Maggie over there, and she's really helpful when something's gone wrong, you know. Like, this is how the herd environment works, and we know this from witnessing camels in their natural environment out in the Australian desert, and we know this from, obviously, you know, witnessing our own herd. Like, within our herd of 12 camels, which isn't a lot of camels, we have 3 different herds. You know,
definitely, there's little cliques.
There's little cliques all in this 12. So, you know, you can just imagine that, you know, in a bigger herd, how incredible that could be. And
that actually affects the way how we handle and manage the camels.
Yes.
All right. So, you know, we want to shift the camels from one paddock to another, for example. We have to keep that in mind, you know, these little cliques and the individuals as well, at the same time, so that, you know, the herd management, if you like, is smooth. It's not manic in any shape, way or form. And
that's how they deal with each other, in a smooth, sort of calm manner, unless there's an emergency and everyone has to run all of a sudden. But, you know, mostly, like, you can just even see them here, they're just, I mean, even though they're eating, but this is their natural state of being. They're cool, calm and collected, and I suppose why a lot of people say they're so majestic, because I think, you know, with us in our fast-paced life, is sometimes we can't even understand or comprehend and how cruisy and chilled out the camels are, because we're so busy with life. So yeah, having them, this is just their natural state of being, you know.
Yeah.
They sit down, stand up.
Yeah, and I must admit, I mean, you know, what I've experienced as well, and what I know of, is that each country and each culture is quite different. They manage and can see the camel as well. I mean, for example, like, you know, the Arabic language, for example, is based around the camel, and that's how much love and respect the Arabic people actually have for the camel, and see the camel's value. You know, India, I mean, the camel is in Rajasthan the symbol of love, from my understanding, and so, you know, there's that very strong bonded connection that they have, that they've had for thousands of years. You know, whereas in Australia, really, I mean, we've had the what we term the Afghans that have come over with camels, and that was only really in the 1860s when all this sort of thing happened. So we're fairly new to the camel world here in Australia, as far as the Western country goes. Yes, we do have the largest wild or feral herd in the world, which is, I don't know if that's a massive achievement, but it's happened.
Not really. It was one of those accident things.
So we're actually in a very beautiful position, of course, in Australia, with that that we can see camels who have learnt from each other. You know, they were domesticated originally before being released, so they'd still have some of those domestic behaviours that would have been passed down the generations, I should imagine. But generally speaking, they are feral camels, and so, you know, we can see them in the wild and see how they react with each other, and it's a beautiful thing to actually watch.
Great. Well, that's a great introduction.
Did you like that?
Yeah, we did.
Oh, look, I'm very passionate about the history of, you know, the different cultures and camels.
It is interesting,
and
that's for
you know,
sure.
people have stories, and this is the beautiful part about this. I mean, you know, we've got our story, you've got your story, or you're creating your story now.
Yes.
And you know, if we can help you with your story, with your dreams, if you like, or your stories, and with what we know, then yeah, well, we'll do it. You know, that's the thing.
Is trust-based camel training, does it work for every camel?
It will work for every camel.
Yes.
That's the short answer. The long answer is some camels switch onto it really quickly.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think I want to just butt in here because I think what you did, because this is where a lot of camel owners get confused. They will try a training method, and they'll try it once or twice, and then they'll go, it doesn't work because it didn't work for my camel. Well, there's so many things that determine that doesn't work thing. Like, I mean, and I think we're going to go into that. It does depend on the camel's personality. Trust-based camel training works for every camel because we work at a foundation level. We don't start up here and expect every camel to meet us up there. We start down here and expect every camel, which we're not expecting much of them because we're only encouraging their natural ways of being, you know, like sitting and standing, and that's the initial training. So yeah, yeah, so it's not like, that's where a lot of camel owners get confused. It's like, oh, well, you know, Tara and Russell say this works for every camel, but it didn't work for my camel. Well, and this happened to a client in ours in the United States. And she went through our online course and she tried everything that we did in our online course, which is exactly why we're doing the virtual camel school, where we're doing live videos in conjunction with the pre-record, so we can just elaborate things for you. And then she came along to one of our courses we did in the States, and luckily she didn't give up. She believes so much in this heart-centered approach that she just didn't give up on the trust-based training. And so she came along and she's like, this is like magic. Like, you know, it was the smallest little tweak that she had to make to match the personality of her camel that made all the difference. So that's why, and you know, we've worked with Bactrian camels, we've worked with dromedary camels, we've worked, you know, as you know, we've worked with camels all over the world as well. And we've got a lot more to come. So like, we're always learning and we're never gonna stop learning. But yeah, just that point of that it does work for every camel.
Totally.
But with different personalities, you need to tweak it.
Totally. I mean, take her example. I mean, you can see in the back, he's just put his head in the trough there.
You can see a lot of bums.
Jack, okay? So he's got his head in the trough. He'll probably pull it up pretty soon. There he is. Yeah, pulled his head up. Okay, now Jack, I use him as an example for a lot of things. So Jack, I liked him. Okay, well, number one, I liked him. And so I was prepared to go through whatever it was with him to get the results eventually, and to actually discover who he was. Who he was quite a scared camel. You know, but I didn't see that at first. I just thought he was being, you know, resistant and cantankerous, not cantankerous, but certainly resistant.
Yeah,
and
resistant.
And you know, it actually, I mean, you know, we got things done, and you know, we ended up getting a result. But it actually took 2 years before he actually said, "Oh, you know, this is okay." All right. and the resistance disappeared. Okay, and but I stuck at it with that consistency and persistency, and a quiet, gentle persistence will always win the day.
Sometimes, when you do a training on whatever subject, could be camels, it could be or whatever, and then sometimes you're like, yeah, and you start to question, like, I don't think that this person could be right about X, Y, Z, but months down the track, a year or two, and you're like, oh my God, they were totally right.
Yeah, totally.
And it's not because they're better or anything, it's just that, like for us, we're here to share the love that we have of camel training and handling from that heart-centered approach. So that means the world to us, so this is like what we live and breathe for, so like that's the difference. It's like, if you go to a jewelry maker, they live and breathe jewelry, so they're going to make the best product for you. And it's, and that is why we gave up a lot of our other camel activities. Like we're giving up our safaris this year, and we've given up the camel hire and all this sort of stuff. Like, this is because this is our focus now. Like, we are so passionate about this, and we're so interested in helping you more, that we realized in order for us to have really good focus on this, that we need to let go of some of those things, take the risk and jump in.
I really wanted to do many years ago, when I first met Tara, and I was explaining to her, my intentions. My overall intentions was to systemize the training process so that it could reach a lot of people, which we're doing right now, okay? And it's not the only training method. All right, let's get this one clear. It's not the only training method, but for myself, I found it worked, and for you, I found it worked.
For us, it's the only training method.
And it worked in such a way that I was comfortable with it. I could see the results, I could understand the process, and that's why we're sharing this now with you.
And we've got some students who do our course and are totally committed all the way with the trust-based training. And then we've got some other students who have done our course and really loved it, but then, they've gone to other sources as well, and just to test the waters and see what else they can learn. All of that's totally fun. We all do it. You read one book on one subject, you read another book on the same subject. Like, it's just, it's the nature of the beast.
Yeah. The interesting part is that a lot of those people have always come back. This worked.
Well, I think, anyway, if you're here and you're listening to us, you've probably watched some of our videos, listened to our podcasts, or read our blogs. We're all about that heart-centered approach. And, so it's not a hard thing to do, is to go for this heart-centered approach to camel training.
No, that's right.
But that's why it works, because it has that heart. Because with a heart-centered approach, you have a natural curiosity, right? So you're going to want to do the best thing for the animal. So you're going to ask the right questions. You're going to, inquire further with the camel and, its personality and its way of thinking. And that's the difference.
If you found this camel Q&A helpful, please let us know. Leave a review wherever you're listening from.
Do you have a camel question for us? Head over to camelconnection.com to ask your camel question now.